And now, hi everyone, welcome to our course launch of the Data Engineering Zoomcamp 2026. For me, it's always exciting because this is our most popular course. And it's always crazy. Right now, it's 1,300 people joining live. So we usually don't get so much attention in our other courses. So for me, it's very pleasant, but also like I'm a bit nervous, right? So it's a lot of attention. So the plan for today is actually I prepared some slides, but typically the sessions like today, what we do is I spent most of the time talking about the course, but this year I decided to take a slightly different approach. So this year, what I want to do is I prepared most of the things that I'm talking about usually. So actually today, this launch is going to be the 5th edition. So it's in some sorts anniversary edition of sorts. But I've been doing this for quite a few years, also launching other courses. So it feels a bit repetitive. But what I really enjoy about these sessions is the Q&A session at the end, where you get to ask me things and I answer these things. So what we are going to do today is I'll briefly go through the slides, but I will not spend as much time as I usually do on them. But instead, what we have this year is this documentation. So in this documentation, everything I typically cover in the course launch is already included. So I'm going to add it here. So I'm going to put it in the live chat, and I'm also going to, if you're watching this in the recording, you will find this in the description to the video. So I will also links documentation. So most of the stuff I usually talk about on this stream is going to be in this documentation. So we will spend most of the time actually answering your question. You cannot hear me. I hope others can hear me. Can you please confirm that the sound works? Awesome. Okay, but let's start with the slides. So I have some slides. And we'll go through the slides, but I also want to go through this documentation platform or documentation portal, website, whatever, where most of the documentation, most of the things you need for this course, this is where it is. Right? But anyways, welcome to this edition of the course. It's the 5th edition. And the plan for today is we'll talk about the course, we'll talk about the course team, and this is huge. There are so many people who have been involved in the course. When I was preparing the slides today, I was really amazed. Then we'll talk about logistics, and then most of the time we'll spend on questions. So I want to start with the current course team. So these are the people you see, and there are LinkedIn links in the course repository. You can read more about us. I don't want to spend too much time, but I want to assure you that we are all professional educators. And I'll just briefly describe everyone who you see here. So Michael has been a very active contributor to the course since day one. So he took the first edition of the course as a student, and then he stayed to support the course. So thanks a lot. I don't know if Michael, you're listening to this right now. Thanks a lot for all your contributions. Then you see me. I'm the founder of DataTalksClub. Also the lead instructor for this course and for many other courses. And then we see Will and Anna. So Will and Anna, they are going to take care of the workflow orchestration model, and then Juan and Diana, they are going to take care about the analytics engineering module. And there are so many people who took part as course instructors, as course supporters, as teaching assistants in the past. You see all the faces here, and I want to start with Victoria, Ankush, and Sejal. So this was the first edition core team. So these are the people who started the course. So thanks to these 3 people, we're all right now here talking. And then Luis, he was also like Michael, the student of the first cohort. Bruno was the student of the second and third cohort, and then he helped as a teaching assistant. Irem, she was a student at the first edition, and then she helped as an instructor. And then Zach took part last year. But this is by no means an extensive list of people. So there are more people who contributed. You will see them in commit history. You might see some of them in the past videos if you're going to take a look at the past editions. And I want to say thanks to everyone who was involved in this. Yeah, so that's the course team. Thanks, everyone. And the next thing I want to cover is the course itself. And I want to start with the prerequisites. And prerequisites are, so you basically need to be comfortable with programming. That's the main prerequisite. So you need to know how to use the command line tool. You need to know basic constructs, programming language constructs like conditions, conditional statements, for loops, while loops, things like that. Right? It doesn't have to be Python, but typically, if you're an experienced programmer in one of the language, picking up Python quickly is not a problem. But probably most of you already know Python or should. Right, and then we also expect that you know some SQL so that it's not you're not starting completely from scratch. We will have a unit about SQL, which we call SQL Refresher. If you don't know SQL, might be a bit difficult for you, but yeah, with ChatGPT and other AI assistants, I think you manage if you are willing to put enough time. But these are the prerequisites. So if some of these things are missing or absent, and it's still okay to take the course, but be prepared for it to be difficult, right? It's not an easy course. It's not a completely beginner-friendly course. We expect you to know some things, right? So, and for you, a good test would be the first module. So if you can go through the Docker session and things work, then you're ready for the course. If things don't work, but you are able to figure this out, like debug things with ChatGPT, use Google to look up things, then you're also ready for the course. But if you get stuck and you don't know what to do and you ask for help, and people reply, people help, but it still does make sense, then probably you need to take a year off to study fundamentals and then come back next year. And of course, we don't require any experience with data engineering. This is what we will learn here. Okay, and what you see here is the most important page that you will see. So this is our GitHub repo. I'm going to send the link now to this repo. So this is where all the content is. So this is like the main, I would say, gateway to the course content in a way. I put the link here. It doesn't appear yet. Do I need to do it one more time? I don't know why it's not appearing, but I will also put it in, yeah, here in the description. So here, if you click here, you will see course here. Okay, so this is what? Go to the site. Okay. So this is our GitHub page. And the first thing I want to ask you is everyone, 1,700 people who are watching it right now, please click on this link and then there is this star button. So I want to ask you all to log in with your GitHub if you haven't logged in and give us a star. And I want to explain why it's an important thing, because when everyone does this, the course will get into GitHub trending and other people will discover it. The course is free, it's very valuable, many people found it very useful. So I want you to ask you to help us promote the course. And the simplest thing you can do is click the star button, you'll start it. It's also a useful bookmark, but it will get into GitHub trends and other people will know about this. So I'll give you 10 seconds. Please do it. and then we will continue. Yeah, thank you everyone for starting it. So when I refresh, I expect to see 36,000, 500, right? Still like 1,000 is missing. So please, please do this. It's going to really help the course. Okay. Anyways, while you're all busy giving the stars, I will continue with this repo. So what you see in this repo is, well, you immediately see the structure, right? So these are our modules from 1 to 6. And you also see some navigation here, right? So if you scroll down, you'll see modules, module number 1, 2. We'll also have a workshop, module number 3, 4, 5, 6, and projects. So this is the basic structure, but you also see it here in folders. And the way it works is the content for the modules is inside this folder. So right now we are on week 1, which means that you click on this 01 folder, and then you simply go through the README. So the README has everything you need. It has links to other resources, other pages within either GitHub repo or somewhere else. So each page, each README in each module contains everything you need. So it has all the links to all the videos. So here you will see so workshop. This is I would say like 60-70% of module number 1, where we talk about Docker. Then we have some SQL refresher, introduction to Google Cloud Platform, Terraform. I saw Michael here, so Michael is the author of this module. Yeah, so this is the content, and you just go through the content, and then at the end there are two things. So first of all, community notes. It's so many notes that I made it collapsible. These are the notes taken by the students of previous editions. So yeah, if you need some help, if you feel like you are getting stuck, check. But also, since we are updating the module content, so for example, this one is freshly recorded, so some of the notes may be a bit outdated, but we also encourage you to contribute your own notes. And then this homework, this is where you'll find homework for this module. And this is important. So this homework, as you can see, the link directs you to this page, which is Data Engineering Zoomcamp, Cohorts 2026, then Docker Terraform homework. And I want to show you, so here, Cohorts 2026, 01 Docker Terraform. So this is very important because materials that are specific to this cohort are going to be stored in this folder, right? So all the homework, like all the streams, like for example, we already had a pre-launch Q&A stream. This launch stream, this is what we have today. I'll put the link here. FAQ, everything that that is important for this cohort is going to be here, right? So remember this. So the top of the repo, important, and then this 2026 also important. And then like when it comes to homework, yeah, there are some instructions. You go through these instructions, you pick the right question, and then at the end there is a link to submit these questions, and then it's multiple choice usually, so you just select the options, and then at the end you click submit. Right. So there are some other things. We will talk about these other things. Also, homework URL. The form will not let you submit without the URL. So you put it on GitHub, you create a repo for this course, and then the first folder will be the first unit, and then you put the link to this folder here. Okay. Back to, I hope everyone took their time to give the slides, to give the star. And then we have, as you saw, we have 6 modules there. I don't want to go into details about these modules. You can check them yourselves. You probably saw this already in announcement. So we'll do Docker, we'll do data warehousing. We will do, I forgot. Oh, but basically, okay, let me actually do this. Docker, workflow orchestration, data warehousing, analytics engineering. Here we'll do DBT, batch and streaming, right? So you can just go through this or go through this to see what we're going to cover. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. But what I want to say is that during these modules, we are going to use the taxi dataset, New York taxi dataset. This is a really good dataset because it's really, it's very real life. So there are a lot of outliers, missing data, things like that, things like we in data have to deal with, right? So this is a really good data set, and we're going to use this data set throughout the course. You'll see it in videos, in lectures, you'll see this in homework. And also when the first edition of the course was recorded, this data set used to be in CSV format. Right now it's Parquet. They switched to Parquet, but we kept the original CSV files because we sometimes use them in the course. You will see all the links in the documentation, but for you just to know, when you see CSV, you need to go to our backup. And if you see Parquet, then you can fetch it from the main website. All the links will be in the materials, don't worry. This is just for you to give some understanding of what is inside. Right, and then, as I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I want to spend some time on the logistics. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this page. Right, so how do you find it? So you go to DataTalksClub/docs, and then you see things here, and then you see courses. And then one of the things here in courses is Data Engineering Zoomcamp. You click on it, and it has all the documentation for the course. I already included the link in here. This is the first link. And here you see what we typically cover in these live streams. So you start with prerequisites, and you just go one by one through all the pages. This is important. Go through each page and try to read what is there. Then getting started, like the things you need to do. Resources. So resources, GitHub repo, I already told you about it. I think this is an old version. I don't know why it wasn't updated. I need to commit a newer one, but you get the idea. So after the session, I'll commit. You'll actually see pictures. But so all the materials are here, and yeah, this is not what I wanted to show. But yeah, so I'll commit it after. You'll go through this, and so here, maybe I have a local version that I can show. Yeah, this should be better. Yeah. So this is how it will look like. We'll have prerequisites, getting started, resources where we talk about GitHub, our course management platform, this thing where I showed you where you submit homework, then our YouTube channel. Here we explain how to find the playlist with the content, how to find the playlist from the other cohorts. Then I also talk about the data set. So you have the links to the New York taxi trips data set. You also have a link to this backup repo with CSV files. And then this logistics is what we are going to cover right now. So this is how our course is organized, designed, and things like this. So each module has a homework. You already saw this. So these homeworks are optional. So you don't have to do them. At the end of the course, there is a certificate, but to get the certificate, you don't need to complete the homework. So homework is optional. This is just for you to test your knowledge. But even though it's optional, you still get some points for completing each of the questions. So if you get the question right, you get 1 point. If the question is not right, you get 0 points. So you get points for questions, and you get the points for learning in public. I'll talk about this. And you get points for contributing to FAQ. I'll talk about this too. Right, and at the end, everything is put on a leaderboard. You can read about all these things later here. And the leaderboard looks like that. So I think what will help if I just show you the leaderboard from the last year. Course leaderboard. And then you see that there are some scores, right? So these scores are to motivate you to do homework, to do other things. But as I said, homework is optional. This learning in public and contribution to FAQ is optional. The only thing that is not optional is doing a project. So at the end of the course, we'll have a project. You do the project. Also, as a part of the project, there are two phases. You work on the project, and the second phase is submitting the project. So you have a project, and then you also need to do peer review. And then at the end, after this, you pass the course and you get a certificate. So this part is not optional if you want to get a certificate, but the rest is optional. Okay, so you'll find more information here. Deadlines are in our course management platform. So what is learning in public? So learning in public is an attitude, I would say. So when you learn something new, you share about it. You say, okay, this is what I learned today. And you make a post on LinkedIn, you make a post on Twitter, you make a post anywhere you want. And we want to encourage you to actually do this. That's why we give you extra points for doing this. So when, let's say we click here, we see that this person for homework number 1 got 13 points. So they got 6 questions correctly. They contributed to FAQ, and they also did shared 6 links for learning in public. Right, and then we can see what they learned, or what they published, the links, and the links look like that. Right? So basically, this person is just describing what they learned. So you're getting these points. For you, you're choosing yourself if you want to care about the leaderboard, or if you don't want to care, it's up to you. But just there is no surprise for you at the end. Like after, usually when we score the first homework, people notice the leaderboard and they see that some people get more scores than others, and they start asking why. And usually the reason is learning in public. So it's not. So I'm telling you this, so it's not a surprise for you. The reason you're not seeing the logistics tab right now is because I am showing you localhost. Right? You see, it's localhost. This is something I did not commit. Right after the session, I will commit it. So probably I needed to do some pull something before committing. I'll commit it right now, and you'll see this after the session. So I promise. Right now, this is how it looks. There is no logistics, and it's a little outdated. So yeah, I'll commit the most up-to-date thing after the session. Okay, I think I told you about learning in public. I don't know why we have 2 FAQs here, but FAQ is another thing. So this is the website, DataTalksClub FAQ, where you see frequently asked questions from different courses. And this is the section you're interested in. So there are a lot of questions. As you can see, it takes a bit of time to load. And then, yeah, you can probably, if you have a problem, it's very likely 95% probability that you will find a solution to your problem here in this list. So keep an eye on this. But also you can contribute to this. So one way you can contribute is you see a question, an answer, and you think you can improve the answer. So then you click edit on GitHub. And yeah, you click edit, and then it will create a pull request, and then I'm monitoring these pull requests, and I'll accept or reject it, right? Another way you can contribute is you can create a new issue. So we can learn here this link. So it describes what you can do, but I can quickly show you. So you create an issue. So here it's a FAQ proposal, and then you basically just follow this thing. So you select the course, Data Engineering Zoomcamp, you write the question, you write the answer. Please go through the checklist to make sure that it's not a duplicate, right? And then you create it. The label should be FAQ proposal. And then there is a job that creates a pull request. We have an agent that is analyzing your submission. Then it makes sure that this is something new, right? And then it creates or updates an existing entry, and then it creates a pull request. So that's how you submit FAQ. And yeah, I'll have to finish reworking it. And then we use this course management platform. So all the information about this platform you can find here, this course management platform tab under Data Engineering Zoomcamp. So I think that's the most important thing. So let me check the slides. Yeah, okay. So, and I see that we've been already talking about this for half an hour. So I see you have a lot of questions. So we will come to these questions, but please use the link. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in live chat. I don't know if I haven't done this yet. So I want to pin it. So please use this link for asking questions, because right now I'm going to finish my presentation and we will start covering the questions. So I want to thank, so I saw that some of you were saying, hey, this course is free. How cool is that? It's all possible thanks to our sponsors. So because of the sponsors, we can do these courses for free. And the sponsors, we have 3 sponsors for this this cohort. So the first one is Kestra. You'll learn Kestra in module number 2, workflow orchestration. It's an amazing workflow orchestrator tool. So you'll meet Will and Anna who work at Kestra. Then Bruin. Bruin is a data platform. You will also learn about so in the modules that we have, we learn about transformation. We learn about I don't know, data warehousing, we learn about other things. But with data platforms, we can put everything together under one roof. And this is what Bruin is providing. And then DLT. DLT is a tool for transforming data. It's called Data Load Tool. So we will also have a workshop about this. So thanks to these sponsors, we can enjoy this content for free. But also, so all these people, they happen to be in Berlin, which is amazing. At least Anna, so we was based in the UK. So I also have personal connection with people working at these companies, and it's really amazing that they are supporting what we do. I'm really thankful for their support and their work. But also, if you want to personally to support me personally, me as Alexey. You can do this using this link. So I'm going to share this link here. And I will also include it here. So if you want to support me, you can do it using this link. You can do it now, or you can do it after you took the course, and then at the end you think, okay, this course is very valuable, and you can make a donation proportional to the value you received from this course. Okay, do I have anything else? Yes, time for questions. Okay, so usually I take a lot more time going through the slides. I think there is still some room for improvement, because at the end, what I want to have is all the information you need is in this documentation. I still need to work on this. I still need to improve it. I have been working on it maybe for a couple of days. So hopefully next time we run the course, We just go through the documentation. I show you where the important things are, and then we go to Q&A. But I see when I got a job, when I'll get a job, then I'll support. So actually, some students, what they do is they find a job and they find out that in their work there is learning budget, and you can actually use this learning budget to support DataTalksClub. So if this is the case and you want to donate your learning budget, well, it will not be a donation, but if you want to share this learning budget with us, with DataTalksClub as a company, you can reach out to me in Slack and then we can discuss it. But of course, this is totally optional, but if you feel like this course is helping you, so many people found jobs because of this course. If you're one of them, and if you want to say thank you, I will not say no to that. Okay, so let's start with your questions. I know Python fundamentals, but coding fluency is my gap. How much AI assistance is healthy to use while training to become a strong data engineer? Okay, so coding fluency is my gap too. So at some point, I was fairly proficient, fairly fluent at coding, but then I became a tech lead, and then I was a manager, so I lost my proficiency, fluency. But because of AI assistance, now I can program quite quickly. I'm not always satisfied with the code quality, but the speed is where there. I analyze the code, I correct the assistant. So I don't see anything wrong in using AI assistance to code. And like, frankly, I don't really care if you do the entire course with AI assistance or not, or you write everything by hand. At the end, the important thing is you understand what is happening, right? So if you just if you just tell the assistant to solve the homework for you and you blindly submit, okay, yes, you'll get some points for the homework, but what's the point, right? The point is for you to learn. So instead of doing that, I would recommend to actually using AI assistance is fine, but I would recommend you to understand everything that is happening. So each line of code, everything that it created at the beginning, maybe because this is a new thing, you want to make sure you understand every single line. So then later, you look at piece of code and everything is clear, then you can just move faster, right? So at least this is how I would recommend approaching it. So use AI assistants because they are here to help, and I found them very useful. And I don't see a reason not to use them. So I recommend actually taking advantage of them. But make sure you understand every single line of the code and you understand your code base. Because it's very easy to get carried away with things like Claude Code or other AI assistants because they create a lot of code. And then what you may end up with is the code base you don't understand. You don't want to end up in this situation, right? So make sure you understand everything, you know where things are. And with that, yeah, it's totally fine, in my opinion, to rely on AI assistance. I'm a civil engineer, 33 years old, living in Turkey. I have some basic knowledge in Python and SQL. Do you think it's doable to make a career change? So, well, I don't know your specifics. To me, for me, no matter what your background is, if you ask me if it's doable to make a career change, I say yes, right? It all depends on your motivation. So here you don't mention your motivation, but this is a prerequisite, a strong prerequisite to have the motivation. If you have it, you'll get it. But you mentioned you have some basic knowledge on Python and SQL. This is definitely enough to take the course. And with the things you will learn from the course, it's enough to get a job as a data engineer. So from what I see now, with this knowledge, you take the course. After, I don't know, 4 months, you do a few projects. I would recommend actually doing multiple, not just one. You do some projects outside of that, and then you're ready. But you also don't need to wait till you complete all these projects. You can start applying for jobs earlier just to see what is required. Like, do you even pass the CV screening? If they invite you to the interview, what do they ask? So then when you're ready, you already know what to expect on the interviews. And maybe by the time, because frankly, you're never 100% ready, right? So I would suggest try to apply for jobs now, and at the same time do the course. and then, iterate. Is the problem if I use Airflow? It's not a problem. You can use whatever tool you want. So here we don't focus on tools, we focus on concepts. But we illustrate these concepts with tools, right? So at the end, yes, we do tools. We use tools, like for example, workflow orchestration. We use Kestra, right? But once you understand the concept applies to any workflow orchestration. Because at the end, what a workflow orchestrator is doing is there is one job, it waits till this job is done. If this job fails, it can restart it. And then once the job is done, it triggers another job, right? So that's what the essence what workflow orchestrator is. And if you understand this concept, you can use any workflow orchestrator, right? So we don't force you to use any tool that we use here in the course. Same with GCP. You don't have to use GCP. You can go with Azure, you can go with AWS, you can go with on-premise. You can run everything locally, up to you. So the choice of technology is up to you. You will not be able to use Airflow for doing the second homework, but you can use Airflow for your project if you want to do this. I have to note that we do not provide support for technologies outside of the stack of the course. So if you choose to use Airflow and you feel stuck and you don't know how to proceed, we will not be able to help you. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. But I was talking about AI assistants, right? So I'm pretty sure if you use something like Claude Code or ChatGPT or whatever, they will help you figure things out. Google gives you free credit for 90 days only. The second project submit further with will it become a problem? Well, you better aim for the first project then. Right? I don't have a solution for that, but what you can do is you can just create a new account. So usually when you create an account, you need to have a credit card. So this is how they check a bank card, not credit, debit, whatever. So this is how they verify that you're a real human. So you add your card to your billing, and then you use 3 months for free, right? And then at the end of 3 months, your trial period is over. So what you do is you delete your credit card from your profile, from your Google account, from your Google Cloud account. Then you create a new email, and then you create a new Google Cloud Platform account. And then you use the card, the bank card that you already disconnected from the previous account in the new account. So this works. I've tested it myself many times. So yeah. So that's what you can do. Data engineering has transitioned quickly. Think traditional BI, SSIS, to now more modern techniques like Spark. We will see more shifts in the future. Yes, so I remember the times with traditional BI, SSIS, Informatica, these visual pipeline builders. Then modern techniques like Spark, I wouldn't call them that modern. So Spark is, I don't know, 10 years old already? No, 15. It's pretty old. So what I see is not actually a lot of many companies use Spark because they have it as an existing technology, existing dependencies. But typically, if you start a new project, unless you are on Databricks, you don't really use Spark, right? So there are definitely shifts, and the shifts will keep happening. It's normal. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just like when you find a job, just learn the tools, the technologies they use on the job, learn the concepts. And you can also, what I do is to keep myself fresh, is I implement small projects. So I try to, let's say I want to use a new technology, I time box it to 10 hours and everything I can do in these 10 hours I do. And then I write some sort of summary and then that's it, right? So this is how I learn. So you can do that. Yeah, but I would focus on learning, knowing tech that you have at work really well, and then focusing on concepts. And then tools are, I would say, secondary. I know Java and can read basic Python, but I don't have much hands-on experience. So what resources do you recommend for learning Python? I would recommend ChatGPT. I don't know if I need to expand on that, but like you just ask whatever, and then it gives you a code, and you try to understand the code. I don't think you need like it's as interactive as it can get. Like I don't think you need anything else for that. What are the chances of landing data engineering job without prior experience as data analyst scientist, given the lack of junior roles and internships? I mean, I will not sugarcoat it. Slim, but like in general, like if you don't have any prior experience in anything, getting a job as anything is going to be not easy, right? Mm. So, but it's not impossible. You'll have done it. You will do this too, right? But like for data engineering, because data engineers are typically already experienced engineers. Yes, there are junior data engineers, and yes, there are people who started their careers being data engineers, but maybe first getting general software engineering experience might be helpful and also easier to get into because there are more open positions for backend or software engineering than to just data engineering. But at the end, the skills you use as a backend engineer, they are very similar to data engineer. Because at the end, it's SQL databases and stuff. Will there be a hackathon or a competition? We have not planned anything, but if you have some ideas, we can talk about that in Slack. As a beginner in Python and SQL, I don't have much coding experience. Can we use the code from the course videos? Some code, yes, it's fine to use, but yeah, I'm just thinking you'll still have to modify. So you will not be able to, for the projects, you will not be able to use the New York Taxi dataset, right? So because we use this in the lectures, it's not allowed to use it for the projects. So because you'll have to use a different data set, you'll have to write different code, right? So some things you can copy, but at the end, most of the code will be new anyways. How to obtain the certificate, submit all homeworks and final projects. So homeworks, as I said, are optional. Final project, yes. So you submit final project and you review 3 peers. So after you submit the project, when we close the form, you'll get assigned, you will be assigned 3 projects to review. You review these projects, and then if you pass, then you'll get the certificate. That's how it works. In Egypt, to get a GCP free trial, you need a credit card with USD. This is difficult for students. So the other solution is do everything locally. It's also possible. You'll have to skip Terraform. But apart from that, most of the content we have here in the course can be done locally. So, and this was the idea we had at the very beginning. So we know that not everyone can or want to use cloud, and it's okay. So there is always a local alternative. Your project will not get some points at the end for the cloud. So one of the evaluation criteria for the project is using the cloud. So your project will not get these points, but in order to pass the project, you don't really need to have a lot of points, right? So it will not be difficult for you to pass the project even without these cloud points. Will we have another live meeting, or this will be the only one? We will have some live meetings. So we'll have office hours for workflow orchestration, and we'll also have a workshop with DLT, and we will also have office hours with Bruin about data platform. So these are the office hours we are going to have. So these are going to be the live sessions. We will make separate announcements about them. So, but yeah, so the classes, everything is pre-recorded. All the videos are in the course repo. So apart from this live meeting, we don't really have anything else, and the videos I mentioned, the streams I mentioned. What is the schedule of the Data Engineering Zoomcamp for people joining the live cohort? I think I just answered that, right? So the main schedule is here. So this schedule is for homeworks, you can see, right? So we open the homework, you do it. I don't care when you watch the videos or if you watch them at all, right? Up to you. You choose whatever is convenient. You can also, we have some texts, we have some notes from the students. You don't even have to watch the videos. Or maybe you prefer to use some other materials. At the end, I don't really care. Like here's homework, you submit, and that's the only schedule we have, these homeworks. So everyone is doing it at the same time. So everyone is doing the same module at the same time. So then we can help each other if you get stuck in some things. Okay. Will it be beneficial to learn backend development to have a holistic understanding of how data engineering works? I mean, in general, yes, but also it's beneficial to learn analytics. It's also beneficial to learn data science. It's also beneficial to learn so many other things. At the end, it's not really possible to learn everything, right? So depending on what your goal is, right, you can see, what you learn. But in general, backend development is quite useful for data engineering because sometimes you might need to create a web service, right? And you want to know how to do this. From this point of view, yes, it's going to be useful. But also, if you don't have this experience and you're coming from more like analytics background, it's also fine, right? So there are different data engineers that have different backgrounds. Some of them come from data science background, some of them come from data analytics background, some of them come from backend development, or from any other background. What are your estimations about demand for data engineering compared to software engineers? General software engineers will always be in more demand. And the reason for that, the reason I think so is, to me, data engineering is a subset of software engineering. So we have software engineers, right? And then we can split software engineers into backend engineers, front-end engineers, data engineers, ML engineers, AI engineers, whatever. But at the end, they're all engineers. They're all software engineers, right? They're just having different focus. So data engineering is one of the such niches. Given that, of course, software engineering is bigger because it's like a whole thing, and data engineering is only part of that, right? So of course there will be more generalists or software engineers in general will be more in more demand. But also, like, I guess your question is, yes, we have positions that are software engineers, we have positions that are data engineers. So here, software engineers are generalists, right? So people who can do everything. And usually there is more demand for that. Like, I don't know, if you just open anything like Amazon, for example, you'll see many software engineers and few data engineers. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't learn data engineering. So there always will be demand for data engineers. Because now these days we all talk about AI, right? But for AI, in order to make AI work, we need data, right? So something or somebody needs to pump data into AI. So we need to create all these pipelines. So the demand for data engineers will always be there. How to achieve your expectation in this Zoomcamp? Is there any specific achievement? I don't know what you mean by that. Like, to me, I'm happy that you all showed up. So for me, it's already an achievement. At some point, right now it's 1,400. It was 1,700. And for me, this is already an achievement. I don't remember such a popular live stream. I think last year it was more than 1,000, but I don't remember it was 1,700. So this is already an achievement. But you probably mean like what I expect from students, right? So if you can complete a project, I don't really care about your homework and stuff. But if you finish a project, then, and of course you learn something. But I think this is the most important thing, right? If you learn something. So then if you learn something and then you get to apply the skill somewhere, I think my job is done. If you finish with project, awesome. I'm really happy when you finish it with a project, you share it on LinkedIn, you say some things about the course. I am also very happy about that. But then at the end, as long as you're taking something from the course and you're benefiting from this, it's good. Yeah, but try to finish it with a certificate at the end. Can I use Snowflake? Yes. As I said, you can use any tech instead of what we use in the course. Do you have any suggestions to how find a good final project? We have data sets here. So here, oh no, this is different. Sorry, projects, data sets. Right, so here you see some links, but then what you can do is you can just talk to ChatGPT. Especially research mode is very helpful. You describe what you are interested in, and ChatGPT will find you a good data set. You can also brainstorm with AI, like if you don't know what to work on, but you think you have some interest somewhere, you can brainstorm with AI to find out what you want to do. And then at the end, also, it's possible that maybe you don't find an open data set about the problem you have, about the project you want to build. Can happen, but then you can also generate a data set, right? Or you can scrape a data set. There are many options. I wouldn't recommend going actually with that road scraping for the final project because it adds on top of, because you'll have only 2 weeks, right? So it's not a lot of time. So I would focus on the core things and just get any data set that is okay for you and focus on preparing all the transformations, putting things in the data warehouse, and then building the dashboard. What after completing the course? How do I find job openings? Well, after completing the course, how do you find job openings? You open LinkedIn. How about remote opportunities? So in LinkedIn, you write remote in your search. How to prepare for interview? So the best way to prepare for an interview is to go for interviews, see what people ask, and next time you become more prepared. Short answer, but I don't have a better one. Of course, you can also Google things, you can research, but the best way to prepare for an interview is to take interviews, right? And then, of course, on the first interview, you will not really be prepared, right? But you'll at least understand what are the areas you need to work on to improve, right? So, and then with time, it will get easier and easier. So it will take some time, but this is the best way, in my opinion, to approach that. How can I get my first data engineering job, given that most positions require 1 or 2 years of experience? Yeah, that's tough. So you focus on projects, and I think this is what I already answered in the Q&A stream that we had like before New Year. So you need to focus on projects, right? And then the way you pick projects is also important. So first you pick a domain in which you want to work. Let's say it's healthcare or e-commerce or whatever. And then you pick up a few companies that you think that are doing a good job. And then you try to read their blog posts and see what kind of problems they have. And then you build small projects that try to reproduce these problems. And then you try to interview with them. You mentioned this in your CV that you have interest in this domain, that you learned about what they do, and you implemented a few projects that are relevant to what they do. And this is how you pick up their interests. Then another aspect is networking, because in the first place, yes, the first thing I mentioned, yes, you can do all that, but at the end, if there are, I don't know, 100,000 applicants for the position, your cover letter will not be noticed. So another way to a way to deal with this is networking. So you go to meetups, local meetups, you talk to people, then you ask them where they work. Yeah, and then you take it from there, right? So then when you know people that can refer you to some positions, then you're already ahead of most candidates who are just applying without any referrals. How many projects I need to land a data engineer role? 0. You don't need any projects to land a data engineer role. But projects are helpful because projects give you experience, projects give you portfolio, projects give you materials to talk about on the interview. But strictly speaking, you don't need any projects. Right? But projects is a way to get attention. Project is a way to learn something new. Projects is a way to share something on social media, get new connections. And we talked a little about learning in public, but maybe for me, it's actually a good way to now do a shameless plug about my Substack. So I had a post recently about learning in public. So I'm going to share it. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to my Substack. But here I talk about benefits of learning in public. You can go through this, but also like when you work on something and when you share something you learned, this could be a project, right? So then some people notice you, and yeah, the more you share, the more people notice you, right? So, so 0, yes, if you have some experience. More, I would say 2, 3 should be enough, right? But 1 is better than nothing, right? So if you have 1, it's already good. Okay, working on Linux is preferable or Windows is okay. Windows is okay, but working on Linux is preferable. I don't know if I need to expand on that. I think it's obvious. But if you use Codespaces, it has Linux, so I would recommend using Codespaces. Is the final project also about the DAXI dataset? No, you have to use something else. Would you advise to do this project week by week? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Like if you already look at the project requirements and you pick a data set from the very beginning and you do it week by week, then it will be way easier for you at the end. And last 2 weeks, when it's the project time, you'll just spend time polishing things instead of hurrying through things. So this is definitely a good approach. I answered that already. Do you know if Snowflake free trial offer is enough for what this course covers? I don't know, but probably it is. I see extremely few junior data engineering job positions. Yeah, that's true. There are not so many of them, because as I said, data engineer is typically an experienced engineer. So a data engineer is not a junior usually, right? So it's somebody who worked in analytics or backend or data science and want to focus on building pipelines. So they already have the backend, the software engineering experience, the background, right? Or in case of analysts, they would need to work on that, but typically they already have some experience. Like analysts are very strong at data analyzing and SQL and stuff, right? So that's why data engineers are not juniors. That said, there are still a few positions. It's still not impossible to get them. But as I said, maybe if you're super fresh out of college or whatever, still try to go for them, but maybe you need to choose a different path depending on availability of junior data engineering positions in your area. Will 2025 batch, you probably mean 2026, right? Provide resources for beginners to learn tasks step by step, because some of the courses are difficult for me as a student of 2024 batch. So, yeah, I don't know how to answer this question, to be honest. Like, if you find our course difficult, so, okay, from what you write here, I am assuming that you tried to take this course 1 year ago and it was difficult for you. But then my question to you is, what have you been doing this year? Have you tried to upskill yourself in the prerequisites that you were lacking? Like if the Docker, so typically many people will find the first module about Docker difficult. Like, have you tried to figure out what was difficult? Like, have you tried to fill the gaps or not? So this is my question to you. So we're not going to make the course easier, because for us, the target audience are people who meet the prerequisites. So people who can program, already have some programming experience, people who know SQL, and we are not going to lower the how to say, entry barrier for you. I'm sorry to say that, but yeah, my point is, if you find the course difficult, try to upskill yourself. So then in a year, you will be able to take it. But if this year you didn't do anything to learn new things, then the course is still going to be difficult. So we're not going to simplify things for you. I'm sorry. Which platform are we going to build? It's going to be GCP. How many hours a week do you think is sufficient to complete the course? Depends on your background. But what I would recommend checking is previous cohorts. When you go to Data Engineering Zoomcamp, the course dashboard, you can see how many people spent time, how much time they spent on different modules. So the first module was the most difficult, I guess. Oh no, this one is more difficult. But yeah, you can see this. And for this module, we actually have 2 weeks, right? So I don't know why Docker is so difficult. Maybe it's just a lot of materials. Like if you actually use code spaces, it should be quite smooth for most of the things. And we see that somebody started as a junior data engineer 2 years ago. So yeah, it's not impossible to get a junior data engineering position. But I would say it's pretty rare. What careers we can work to make our road to get what careers we can work to make our road to get our first job for data engineer easier? I would say general software engineering, right? But also, if we talk about data scientists, yeah, also there are juniors, yeah, but I think like general software engineering is good. Like, I might be biased because I started my career as a software engineer, but I think just being a generalist teaches you many things. You learn how to work with databases, you learn how to work with backend, like with web servers, you learn about testing, you learn about software engineering best practices, and these skills, they transfer across engineering niches, let's say, engineering specialities. So you can then say, okay, I've been doing backend for quite some time. Now I want to focus on data engineering. So for me, yeah, I think backend engineering is the way to go. But also, why not try to start with data engineering, right? You don't have to actually go through something else. If for you it's possible to go to data engineering directly, so you need to test. I think this course focuses on building ETL pipelines. Will it cover also ELT pipelines, data lakes, data lake houses? So we do cover data lakes. I mean, for me, this difference between ETL and ELT, like it's not really worth time arguing about. What is important is you can extract, you can transform your data, and you can load your data. In which order you do it doesn't matter at the end, right? So yes, we have data lakes. We talk about data lakes, and this is actually the recommended architecture. So you have a data lake, and then from this data lake, you apply some transformation to load the data into your data warehouse. But at the end, it's just just semantics. So you want to have a working pipeline, and you want to have a working dashboard, and then the way you go to this dashboard is up to you. What is the difference between data engineer and AI engineer for someone with basic SQL and Python skills? Which is better? Which is better? Only you can decide. So I would ask myself, what do I like doing more, right? Because if you don't like the job, like you will not have the motivation to actually learn things. You will not have the motivation to look for a job. But if you have the motivation, if you like something, you will have pet projects, you will have portfolio projects, right? Even before you start working in this position, you already will be doing something because you really like these things. You're really motivated, right? And then for you, it's easy to decide, right? So then ask yourself what you like and then focus on that. And then you'll find a job in this area. Because both data engineering and AI engineers are in demand. And then
Your first part is what is the difference between a data engineer and AI engineer? Mm. So, so data engineer focuses on data, AI engineer focuses on AI, right? So I guess the answer is kind of obvious. Of course, the devil is in the details. Um, so I would say, let's say there is a team, right? And they work on AI product. In this team, you can have an AI engineer and you have a data engineer, and maybe you have a machine learning engineer. Maybe you have also, I don't know, data scientist, data analyst. So if we talk about one team who is building an AI product, they would focus on different things. So data engineer would focus on um, making sure all the data is captured and it's ready for analysis, it's available, it's reliable, it's clean, things like that, right? So then analysts can use it, AI engineers can use it, everyone can use it, right? So that would be the job of the data engineer, right? Making this data available, making this data useful. They can also work with the AI engineer to um, the AI engineer would work on the AI product, like the AI aspect of the product. I don't know, using OpenAI is the simplest example, right? So you use OpenAI to make some queries, you test this, you do prompt tuning, you test that your approach works, you evaluate your model. Then you might need to have some database. I'm trying to think if I should go into more details about this. But the idea is, yes, AI engineers work more with AI, right? Data engineers work more with making data available. And of course, there's some intersection because AI engineers may need a database, right? And this is where data engineers can support. I'm currently doing ML Zoomcamp. Which should I pick next, data engineer or MLOps? I want to learn anything that can land me a job as up as soon as possible. Okay, so data engineering and ML engineering are different things. So, like in the same way as AI engineering is different from data engineering, in the same way ML engineering is different from data engineering. Since you're already doing ML Zoomcamp, for you, what would help more if you want to get a job is doubling down on that. So instead of trying different things, just say, okay, like I want to focus on ML engineering. I want to do more projects in this. I want to continue learning things in that, and I'm going to apply for positions in this area. I hope you've been already actively applying for jobs, right? So you continue applying, you continue building projects, you continue upskilling yourself in this particular area. So you stay focused, you don't try to jump around. And in this case, MLOps is a more natural progression because MLOps is more like advanced ML engineering. So ML engineering is introduction to ML Zoomcamp is introduction to ML engineering, and MLOps is like one or two level course, let's say. So it's more like intermediate ML engineering. So in this sense, continue applying for positions, continue building projects in ML engineering, and also take an MLOps course, and also introducing some things you learn in MLOps to your ML projects would really be better because you stay focused instead of jumping around. So I would not recommend taking data engineering course if you want to focus on getting a job. But also for ML engineers, I think it's useful to know data engineering. But since your focus is getting a job, so I would focus on really doubling down on what you already have. How realistic is getting a career in data engineering starting from nothing? Yeah, it is realistic. Like as I said, as long as you have motivation, everything is possible. How can I prepare myself for the Zoom camp? I need more specifics about your background. But like if you meet the prerequisites, you don't need to prepare. If you don't meet some prerequisites, then you know what you need to work on. I'm a fresher, and everyone says that data engineering is for experienced people, and I have to do data analytics first. What should I do now? I think we talked about this. So you try to find data engineering, junior data engineering positions or trainee data engineering positions if you can. You apply to them, but you also decide what is your plan B. Do you want to focus more on engineering or maybe analytics, right? And then depending on what your answer is, you choose. But you also continue upskilling yourself in data engineering, right? And you also continue applying to data engineering positions. Just a few minutes ago, I was saying you need to focus on something, you need to double down on something. But in this case, if in your area you don't have any junior data engineering positions, it's going to be tough for you. Like you can focus all you want, but if there are no junior data engineering positions, people might not simply hire you for this for more senior positions, right? So then you need to have a plan B. So I would recommend thinking what your plan B is, and then thinking how you can implement this plan. Can you tell us more about peer review, how it will be conducted? So we will use our course management platform. Do you have some screenshots here? I don't have screenshots here, but then basically you submit your project. So this is how on the form. I think I can go to our course management platform. So there is an active form right now in ML engineering. So you work on the project, you submit some links here, right? You submit, and then at some point, so this form will be closed in 7 days. So after this form is closed, everyone who submitted their projects will see a different form. So I cannot show it because I did not submit a project here. But what they will see, or what people who submitted their project here, what they will see is 3 assignments. And then they click on these assignments, they see the link, the submitted link. So when I submit a link, so they will see this link, and they will need to evaluate the project according to some criteria. So this criteria for our particular course, you can find here in the README. Evaluation criteria. So there are multiple dimensions, and then you evaluate the project according to these dimensions. And then you click submit, and then you evaluate 3 of them, and that's how it's going to happen. I'm a software engineer with 4.5 years of experience and laid off 6 months back. How can I become top-notch data engineer? Yeah, you work on projects. I'm just thinking, like in order to become a top-notch data engineer, working on projects is not enough, but you need to get into a position where you can work on really, how to say, on valuable things. So typically alone, when you're not working as a part of company, it's very difficult to become top-notch because the problems you have are of very different scale, right? So maybe you download a data set from Kaggle, but this data set is already cleaned, you build a dashboard, good. And this is enough to actually get a job, right? But then you become a top-notch data engineer on the job. So you deal with production issues, you deal with messy data, you deal with dashboards being broken, you deal with stakeholders, and you learn how to deal with this, you learn how to avoid having problems like that, and this is how you become a top-notch data engineer. So by doing your work as a data engineer. Yeah, but first you need to get a job. And to get a job, you work on projects, you do this course, right? And then you get your foot in the door, and then there you become a top-notch data engineer. So this course is not enough to become a top-notch data engineer, of course, but we need to start somewhere. I think I'll maybe answer these 3 questions, or whatever 3 questions we have here, and call it a day, because we are already over time. So I'm a data analyst, proficient in Excel, Power BI, and basics of Python and SQL. Is data engineering really promising to transition? So your question is if it's worth transiting to data engineering. You decide. I don't know. I cannot answer this question. I like data engineering, but if you like it, I don't know. Is sharing my course notes on GitHub considered as public learning? Yes, but ask yourself why you do this. Do you want people to see it? And if you just share on GitHub, how many people will see it? Versus if you first share it on GitHub and then share it on social media, how many people will see it in this case? right? So your goal is to be noticed. So think if just posting on GitHub alone is enough for that or not. I would say no, but we will give you will get points for the leaderboard. That's yes, right? But then at the end, yeah, you'll have these leaderboard points. Well, what's the point, right? So the point for you is, again, here, I talked about these benefits of learning in public. So the first benefit is visibility and career opportunities. So if you just put it on GitHub, how much visibility you have? I don't know. Like, yes, faster skill development, yes. Feedback and peer learning, maybe not so much. Credibility over time, yes, partially. Accountability and motivation, also partially. So learning in public, so there is the learning component and in public component. And GitHub is only partially public, right? Because yeah, not many people will see. And the point is to actually get in front of people, right? So you decide if you want. It's definitely a good step. You need to start somewhere. And for many people, learning in public is difficult because you need to, I don't know, make a post and then you think, oh, what people will think about me, right? So then at the beginning, maybe just start simple, start with GitHub posts, and then eventually you can maybe try it on Twitter. You see that nothing bad happens, and then you continue. Or one is fresh. For people who are fresh in data engineering, what skills make me pass an intermediate data engineering positions? Okay. I mean, technically, it's the same skills as we teach, but there could be more things, right? So the best way to approach this question is to actually start interviewing as intermediate data position and see what they ask, right? So I can think of something, but I don't know how applicable it will be in your area, where you live, where you interview for remote positions, for other positions. So I would say that what we cover here is more or less sufficient, but you might need other things. And the other things that you will need to find out by, interviewing, you need to find it out by checking the job postings, looking at what people or the companies are looking for, and trying to understand and see if you have any gaps and see how you can fill these gaps. Okay, I think that's it. I am tired of speaking. For some reasons, I'm very tired of speaking. I hope you like the session. So a few important things. GitHub this is where you get all the information about the course. We also have the website with notes. So this is where the most important information about the logistics of the course and how the course is organized. This is where you will find it. And the rest of the course was mostly Q&A. What I also want to do with this Q&A is somehow repurpose it. So maybe you'll see some of this content appearing in Docs or LinkedIn or somewhere. But with that, so GitHub, Docs, and then you start with module number 1. Yeah, have fun, enjoy learning. So for the module number 1, we have 2 weeks. It's enough time to prepare the environment. It's enough time to figure out all the problems you have. If you have some problems and you cannot solve it, try ChatGPT, try Slack, and yeah, have fun and enjoy learning. And yeah, see you around. Bye, everyone. Was very nice seeing you all today. So many people. So